Hello and welcome to this short demo video. I'll show you how LaserCut KonturFix works and what the software can do. LaserCut KonturFix was specifically developed to prepare images for laser cutting and laser engraving, optimize them efficiently, and quickly turn them into clean, laser-ready templates. After launching the program, you will see a clearly structured user interface. The loaded source image will later be displayed on the left. The calculated SVG preview will appear in the center, and all tools and settings are located on the right-hand side. The license management section is always accessible in the upper right corner. LaserCut KonturFix can initially be tested free of charge for 30 days. The remaining trial days are displayed directly in the license area. For later activation, the user enters their name or company name as well as their email address. The License ID button makes it easy to copy the unique installation ID. Request License then prepares a license request containing the required information. Once the personal license code is available, it is entered using Activate License. Activation works completely offline. The license is digitally signed and can be verified by the program, but it cannot be generated by the program itself. This keeps both usage and licensing independent of a permanent internet connection. Directly below the license section, you will find the language selection. LaserCut KonturFix supports German, English, French, Spanish, and Italian. When the language is changed, the interface, labels, messages, dialogues, and related help content are adjusted accordingly. This allows the software to be used in international workshops, companies, or training environments. The selected language is saved and automatically used again the next time the program is launched. Of course, changing the language does not affect any loaded images, projects, or settings. It only changes the display language and user guidance. Create Cutting Design starts a special workflow. The button opens an AI assistant in the browser that is specifically prepared for laser cut and stencil style designs. This step is optional. Existing images can still be opened at any time directly through Load Image. However, the design assistant helps ensure that clear black and white areas, connected shapes, and laser-friendly design principles are considered right from the image generation stage. This feature requires at least a free, signed-in ChatGPT account and an internet connection. The actual image processing and later export in LaserCut KonturFix, however, run locally on the computer. The specialized assistant Laser Cutter Designs Cutting opens in the browser. First, the desired language is selected. The assistant then guides you step by step from the initial idea to a suitable cutting design. In the input field at the bottom, you can either answer the suggested questions or directly describe your own ideas. The goal is to create a high-contrast design with clearly separated positive and negative areas. The more clearly the desired design, final size, and material requirements are described, the better the result can be automatically prepared afterward. The assistant asks for the key details in a targeted way. What design or theme should be created? What size should the design be? What material thickness will be used? And what style is desired, for example, delicate, modern, vintage, silhouette, or realistic? In our example, an eagle in flight is described, with a target size of 300 by 300 millimeters, suitable for 3 millimeter birch plywood, and created in a realistic style. This information helps the AI adjust the level of detail and visual style to the intended use. Especially for stencil designs, it should be mentioned that enclosed areas must remain connected to the main design. LaserCut KonturFix can automatically add these connections later. However, a well-structured source image from the beginning usually delivers the best result. The assistant has now generated a high-contrast eagle image. The white background and clearly defined black design areas provide an excellent foundation for contour detection. The image is saved to the computer using the highlighted download icon. Before saving, the design can be refined further if needed. For example, you can request fewer details, stronger connections, or a different crop. The downloaded image is then loaded into LaserCut KonturFix, where it is converted into actual cutting contours. The second AI button is called Create Engraving Design. It opens a different assistant that is specifically prepared for engraving designs. While a cutting design should mainly consist of clearly connected areas, An engraving design may contain significantly more details, shading, and fine structures. Here as well, this is optional support for creating the design. LaserCut KonturFix itself remains the tool for the subsequent preparation, contour calculation, size definition, and export. The Create Engraving Motifs assistant generates images for laser engraving and, if desired, can also take a closed outer shape into account for the later cutout. This allows the engraving and cutting contour to be prepared within a single workflow. After starting, the assistant once again asks for the requirements in a structured way. This separation between cutting designs and engraving designs prevents unnecessarily harsh black and white areas from being created for an engraving or fine grayscale details unsuitable for a stencil from being generated. For an engraving design, several decisions are important. First, the desired theme is described. Then it is specified whether the design should only be engraved or whether an additional closed cutting contour is required. The shape of the outer contour can also be defined, for example, a circle, oval, shield, rectangle, or a freeform cloud shape. In our example, a hip-hop dance battle between a man and a woman is created. The desired result is an engraving with a closed cutting contour, a cloud-shaped outer form, a size of 300 by 300 millimeters, and a line art style. This information is entered directly into the input field. The finished engraving design contains many fine lines and details, but it is enclosed by a clear, closed, cloud-shaped contour. The inner artwork can later be engraved, while the outer shape serves as the cutting line. This image is also saved using the download icon. LaserCut KonturFix then handles the technical separation between the engraving content and the outer contour. This means the cutting line does not have to be painstakingly redrawn in a separate graphics program. Back in LaserCut KonturFix, an existing image file is opened using Load Image. Common image formats such as PNG and JPEG are supported. It is important to distinguish between an image and a project. Load Image starts a new editing process with a graphic, while Open Project loads a previously saved LKF project file containing the original image, settings, masks, and place bridges. After loading, the image appears on the left. The preview in the center initially remains empty until the actual analysis is started with Create Mask. Here we can see the loaded eagle in the left-hand area. This window always shows the original image or the image source currently being used. The center area is reserved for the calculated SVG preview. This side-by-side view is intentional. On the left, you can always check what image information is available. On the right, or in the center, you can see which contours the laser cutter will actually receive later. This makes changes to the threshold, smoothing, small part filter, or contour mode immediately easy to understand. With Create Mask, LaserCut KonturFix calculates the usable areas and contours from the loaded image. In cutting design mode, inner contours are shown in green and outer contours in red. Green means these contours should be cut first. Red indicates the outer contours, which are cut last. This order prevents an already cut-out workpiece from shifting before its inner details have been fully processed. Using Connect Islands, separate black areas are automatically connected to the main area with suitable bridges. Additional bridges can be added precisely with Place Bridge manually or removed with Delete Bridge. The output mode determines whether the result is a pure cutting design or engraving plus outer contour. Below that, Cutting Contours defines which contour layers are exported. The available options are the outer contour only, outer contour plus inner holes, or all detected contours. For classic stencils, the option with outer contour and inner holes is often the most suitable setting. This section contains the most important fine-tuning parameters. The black threshold determines which brightness levels in the image are treated as black design areas. A higher value includes more dark and mid-tone areas in the mask, while a lower value limits the mask more strictly to truly dark parts of the image. Invert Image swaps black and white and is useful when the design and background are reversed in the source image. Smooth Before Mask reduces small image irregularities before contour detection begins. Remove Small Parts filters out tiny spots and contours that are usually unwanted during laser processing. Both sliders should be used carefully so that fine, intentional details are preserved. Bridge Width defines the desired width of a connection in millimeters. When Determine Bridge Width automatically is enabled, the program selects a suitable value based on the design, local geometry, and structural load. Minimum bridge width and maximum bridge width limit this automatic range. This keeps delicate areas refined while allowing larger or critical islands to be connected more securely. SVG design width sets the real output size in millimeters. The height is calculated proportionally based on the image format. Maximum bridge length limits how far an automatic connection is allowed to extend. A value of 0 means open or without an additional length limit. SVG smoothing reduces unnecessary anchor points and smooths out uneven contours. When automatic smoothing is enabled, the software calculates the value based on the structure of the design. Minimum and maximum smoothing define the allowed range. Too much smoothing could remove details, while too little smoothing creates unnecessarily many points and uneven laser movements. Under Export Quality, you can choose between a fast preview resolution option, a high-quality option up to 3000 pixels, and the original image resolution. For final export, HYH is a good standard setting. For especially large or highly detailed designs, the original resolution may be useful. Main area determines which connected design region is used as the starting point. Usually the largest area is selected. Alternatively, a centrally located area can be used as the reference. Save Optimized PNG exports the cleaned and prepared raster graphic. This image shows the second output mode, Engraving plus outer contour. On the left, the detailed raster template remains unchanged. In the SVG preview, the engraving areas are shown in blue. The closed red line on the outside marks the contour along which the design will be cut out after engraving. Under Cutting Contours, Cut Outer Contour Only is selected here. This is usually the right choice for an engraved sign, pendant, or decorative element. The fine internal details are engraved, but not cut out individually. Only the outer cloud shape is output as the cutting line. With Create Mask, the preview is recalculated after every relevant change. The black threshold determines which image areas are included in the engraving. Image inversion, pre-smoothing, and the small part filter are also available in this mode. Design width, smoothing, and export quality then determine the final size and technical quality of the result. At the bottom of the settings area, you will find the 3 export options. Save Optimized PNG creates a cleaned-up raster file. It is suitable, among other things, for laser programs that calculate engravings directly from image data. Save SVG creates a scalable vector file. SVG is especially useful when contours need to be checked and further edited in programs such as Inkscape, Lightburn, or other laser software. The real-world dimensions are applied based on the selected design width. Save DXF provides the contours in a widely used CAD exchange format. DXF is suitable for many technical drawing, CAD, and laser programs. Regardless of the format, an automatic check is performed before export. At the very bottom, Help and Instructions opens the complete language-specific documentation. Before saving, LaserCut KonturFix checks whether the result is technically plausible. In this example, many separate black areas were detected. The program explains the issue and recommends connecting the islands with newly calculated bridges. Reconnect Islands applies the suggested repair directly. Back to Preview closes the dialog so that settings or bridges can be checked manually. Export Anyway deliberately allows the current state to be exported. For example, when separate engraving areas are intentional. The export check, therefore, does not take control away from the user. It prevents obvious mistakes, explains the cause, and offers a specific correction, while still leaving the final decision entirely in the user's hands. The Help and Instructions button opens the complete HTML help in the currently selected language. A quick start guide walks you through the basic steps: loading an image, selecting the output mode, creating the mask, checking contours and bridges, setting the size and quality, and then exporting the result. The table of contents provides access to detailed chapters on the interface: design creation, mask optimization, contour colors, automatic and manual bridges, smoothing, the undo function, project files, export formats, export checking, licensing, and troubleshooting. The help also includes images for each language version. This makes it useful both as a reference guide and as supporting training material. LaserCut KonturFix can save not only finished export files, but also complete work states. Save Project creates an LKF project file. The original image, settings, masks, and bridges are preserved in that file. Open Project later continues the work exactly from that saved state. Undo reverses the most recent editing step. Redo restores a step that was previously undone. Up to 20 states can be managed. Original state returns to the starting point of the loaded image. Below the buttons, a status line indicates which work step was performed most recently. These features encourage experimentation. Threshold values, bridges, or smoothing settings can be tested without permanently losing a good intermediate version. Here, the optimized PNG has been opened in Inkscape. The result shows the cleaned raster graphic in the defined shape and size. For an engraving design, this file contains the image information from which the laser software can determine the engraving power or dot density. External checking is not strictly required, but it is recommended for important jobs. This allows the dimensions, image crop, and level of detail to be reviewed once more before the design is sent to the laser. Finally, we can see the SVG export in Inkscape. The contours are true vector paths and can be scaled without any loss of quality. The green lines represent inner contours, which are cut first. The red lines indicate the outer contours, which are processed last. This keeps the workpiece as stable as possible during the cutting process. LaserCut KonturFix brings together the entire workflow, from the initial image idea to the checked laser file. Designs can be created with specialized AI assistants or loaded from existing images. Cutting and engraving modes, automatic bridge widths, intelligent smoothing, different quality levels, and a clear export check reduce the amount of manual rework required. Project management, the undo function, and complete help documentation also provide safety and clarity. In just a few clear and easy-to-follow steps, an image becomes a clean, controllable PNG, SVG, or DXF file prepared for practical laser use.